at least annual College Amateur Radio Club Roundtable. And this is a very informal panel discussion with members of amateur radio clubs from four universities that we picked just because we were familiar with them. They're not the ones with the most active clubs, biggest clubs, most awesome stations maybe, but we hope we did not slight anyone. And I picked a hat which doesn't reflect on any of the schools that are here, because I felt that my job when I was working was badgering people. So I love this hat. I kept it hanging up on the wall in front of my desk. But the four schools represented today are Case Western Reserve University, Michigan State University, the University of Michigan, and Virginia Tech, also known as Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University. So we'll start out by just going around to the members of the club. Let me know if I miss anyone. I have 6 people here on my list, and I'm doing this in alphabetical order. Case Western Reserve University. These are the Spartans. Their colors are blue, gray, and black. They are a private research university in Cleveland, Ohio, created in 1967 through the federation of 2 longstanding contiguous institutions. Western Reserve, founded in 1826 and named for its location at the Connecticut Western Reserve, and Case Institute of Technology, founded in 1880 through the endowment of Leonard Case Jr. So our questions. Aiden, I'd like to know your name, call sign, club call sign, what class you're in, and what's your major?
Hi, thanks for having me. So my name is Aiden Monterre, call sign is KB3UMD, and I'm the current president of the Case Amateur Radio Club. Our call sign is W8EDU, and we operate the radio station for Case Western. Let's see, class, did you mean operating license class?
No, like 2023 or
Oh, yes, so I'm a current senior, and I will be actually graduating this upcoming, whatever month that is, May. And I am studying electrical engineering, as might be fitting.
Oh, okay, thank you. David Kasdan. You should be able to unmute yourself.
I am unmuted. I'm David Kasdan, Alpha Delta 8 Yankee. I am the faculty advisor of the Case Amateur Radio Club at Case Western Reserve University. The club long predates the merger, so its corporate name is the Case Amateur Radio Club from Case Tech, but we welcome all of the Case Western Reserve University community. Amateur extra class licensee, college class in 1981, if that's what you're looking for there. Electrical engineering back in the day. Is that what you were asking?
Sure, close enough.
Yeah, okay.
Great, okay. The next school, Michigan State University, they are the Spartans. Their colors are green and white. They are a public land-grant university based in East Lansing, Michigan. I'm missing a statistic here. It says in 2019, they had 49,800 students. They were founded in 1855 as the Agricultural College of the state of Michigan, and were expanded beyond agriculture following the Morrill Act of 1862. So that's what I know. And let's go over to Jacob Bruner.
Yeah, well, very good. Thanks everybody for inviting us. So my name's Jacob Bruner, call sign KW4EV. I'm an extra class license. I've been president since last year, so seen ourselves through this pandemic, which has been very interesting. I'm a senior. I'll be graduating in a little over 4 weeks from now. I'm a double major in mechanical engineering and horticulture, so really making use of the everything a land grant has to offer. And I've been licensed since I'm 11 years old. It's something I really like to do, and just bringing it to the MSU community. And with me this evening is Nathan, K8 PhD, who's my secretary, and he helps out the club a whole lot. So I'll let him introduce himself.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Nathan Fleming. My call sign's KE8 PhD. I'm currently a senior, but I'll be graduating next year. I got some classes to take to meet my degree requirement. And my major is material science, which is a little off the beaten path for our club, it seems. Nice to bring that insight in.
Thanks, Nathan and Jacob. Next up, we have University of Michigan. They're the Wolverines. Colors are maize and blue. They are a public research university in Ann Arbor, Michigan, with 46,000 students as of 2018. Founded in 1817 in Detroit, they moved to Ann Arbor in 1837 upon statehood. And representing them is Michael Flugeman. Michael?
Thanks, Ralph. My name is Michael. My call is Kilo Echo 8 Alpha Quebec Whiskey, and I am currently serving as president for the W8UM Radio Club. I just finished my master's degree actually from the University of Michigan in Dearborn back in December, and I was studying electrical engineering. I've been licensed since 2015, and I actually got my license down at the University of Alabama, where I was a member of their club at the time. So happy to be here with you all.
Thank you, Michael. And last but certainly not least is Virginia Tech, Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University. They are the Hokies, which maybe you can explain. I only know what I read on Wikipedia. Their colors are Chicago maroon and burnt orange. They are a public land grant research university based in Blacksburg, Virginia. They had 36,000 students in 2019. Were founded in 1872 as Virginia Agricultural and Mechanical College. They merged at one point with Radford State Teachers College in 1943, but then dissolved that merger in 1972. The one thing I picked off the web that in 1953, VPI became the first historically white four-year public institution among the 11 former Confederate states to admit a Black undergraduate. Representing them is Adam Kimbrough. Adam.
That's right. I'm Adam Kimbrough. I'm the current president, as of last year, for the Amateur Radio Club at Virginia Tech. We're known as VTARA, and that's Virginia Tech Amateur Radio Association. My call sign is N4ADK. I'm an extra class licensed since 2014. And I will graduate next spring as an electrical engineer, focusing on RF and microwave. And our club call sign is K4KDJ.
Very good. Okay, I'm going to go back to the top and let you run with some general descriptions of your clubs, like how many members do you have? Do you allow non-students as members? Do you know a rough breakdown between students and non? Is your membership growing generally? And we'll talk about, I mean this pre-pandemic. Do you charge dues? How much are they? Let's do that. I think that's enough questions for one go around. And let's go back to Aiden and David from CASE. Aiden?
Thanks. So the CASE Amateur Radio Club has about 24 or so more active members. And our general membership is around 70. But we usually think of ourselves as a bit of a smaller group because we have many people who are affiliated with the club, but aren't involved necessarily every week. That being said, we're open to pretty much anyone, and it's one of my favorite things about the club. People don't have to be committed for any length of time. They don't have to be a student. They can be alumni. They can be community members. We have, pre-COVID, we would regularly have members of the local Cleveland amateur radio community join us. And so, yeah, anyone is welcome, students, faculty, staff, in or outside the university. We do not charge dues. And as a consequence of that, it is always a little harder to keep track of how many members exactly we have. And let's see, did I answer all the, was there another question there?
How's your membership doing? Are you growing, or in general steady, or how?
Yeah, that's a good one. In the longer term, we have been growing significantly the past 5 and 10 years, predating my time as a student. We've been, and David has been there for a bit more of that history. But with COVID, I'd say we're sort of maintaining. I'm thankful that I've still been able to meet interested freshmen, for instance. But we're certainly not getting to do quite as much recruiting as we would normally. But I think things are going well, and we're generally growing.
Good, thank you. Let's move on to Michigan State University, Jacob and Nathan.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks. So currently we have about 21 student members, and it's split 50-50. So we have 21 student members and then about 20 alumni members. We do open it up to everybody in the community. Typically it just happens to be mostly university students or alumni. And we have a sister organization called the Friends of the MSU Amateur Radio Club, and that's how the alumni connect. So they have their own meetings, they go out for dinner. So, they do a lot of fundraising with other alumni, and then the students, we have our own little meeting. And then we also have a lot of meetings together. The club membership is always stable, but we always have, for like fresh faces every year. So typically we stick around 20 students, and then as seniors graduate, we have a new group of freshmen or sophomores come in, and then eventually they become leaders. And then I graduate this year, and my place will be taken by one of the underclassmen. So we have a steady stream of new individuals, and we are meeting on Zoom every week. We have a net every week, and that's how we keep people engaged. So we're very active, small but very active.
Very good. Nathan, do you have anything to add to that?
Oh, no, not really. I joined the club post-pandemic, right at the start of August. So I've just been I haven't gotten into our shack yet, which is a bummer. So waiting for that to open up, and then hopefully we'll see what's going on from there.
Yeah, a year ago, somebody had a thing on Facebook that it said a slogan to promote: amateur radio, experts in social distancing for 100 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so real good. Okay, so next up from University of Michigan, Michael Flugeman.
Thanks. So I have about a list of 20 or so students who have expressed interest in the club, who've either attended a meeting in the past or attended one of the interest days at the beginning of the semesters. And we also have a lot of community members. Right now, the club is not collecting dues. We found that a donation-based model has been working really well for us. There's a lot of community members and alumni who want to support the club, and so we've gotten radio donations or antenna donations and other things, and they're helping support the club and helping to maintain our shack. So we do have non-student members, and they're a big help to our club. we, in fact, I think our general like email list probably has over 500 people, including alumni and other community members and students and past students, and just anyone who's interested in the club, they can be on our email list. But in terms of active participants, I would say about 20 students, and then a handful or so non-students. And in terms of the club size, I would say the pandemic certainly hasn't helped us. And I find we just gotta find the best way to keep the students engaged. We have a really great shack with lots of radios and great antennas, but not a lot of the students are taking advantage of that. So we're trying to get some programming when we can to help encourage them to use it. But unfortunately, with the COVID restrictions, the university didn't want any of our clubs gathering this past year, so that didn't really help us. Back to you, Ralph.
Thanks, Michael. And from Virginia Tech, Adam Kimbrough.
Yeah, so club dues, we have $12 per semester or $20 for the year. We actually haven't gotten any dues this past school year for obvious reasons. Just the activity hasn't been like it usually has. And that's a big reason being a lot of the students are off campus and not even like in the town. They're back at home. I want to say, I think Virginia Tech Amateur Radio Club is the oldest college club. That's a big statement, but we're coming up on our 100th anniversary in 2 years. I believe it's 98 years since 1923 was when the club was first established. And as far as member count, so I would say our latest batch of new members was somewhere around 10 to 15. But as far as, people who are either coming to meetings or, active in we have a group chat for a Facebook group chat for members, something around between 5 and 10 are actually speaking and everything. And the ratio of student to non-student would be, I would guess, around 30% student, non-student.
Pardon me, I had to take that, but it was from KDA GTT, who is my 93-year-old mother. And she knows when I'm busy. That's when she calls. So I had her call my wife, but thanks, Adam. Let's move on. The next set of questions. Let's talk about if you have a shack. What could you describe it? What kind of radios, antennas do you have? Do you have regular hours? And we're talking again pre-COVID. Does your club have repeaters? What bands are they on? Are they analog or digital? Are they linked? Are they near campus? I know the answer to this question, and I still like to hear your description. And that is, how much of your equipment was funded by dues or alumni or other donations? So let's go back to Aiden.
Yeah. David, would you like to take that one?
Well, that last one,
or just in general?
Okay,
you want to talk about the shack?
Yeah, I can talk about the shack some because I date back to it from the 80s. Adam, I do want to tell you, Virginia Tech is not the oldest university club station in the country. That honor, it's debated whether that's MIT or Columbia University. But the campus newspaper reports from us have us doing transmission tests with the University of Michigan in 1912. So the university stations go back to the earliest days of radio. Anyway, we have an interesting station. The Case Club has gone through at least 3 locations since the 1930s. We've been in the current location since about 1970. It's on the roof of an 8-story engineering building. It has its own blockhouse on the roof with 2 antenna towers. That blockhouse was built about 1967, 1968, when a physics professor needed shortwave communication to Arecibo in Puerto Rico. And we have his commercial license for that. That project was abandoned in about 2 years. That happened to be the same time that the building that the Case Club was in, Old Main, was being raised. And the club moved into this little radio-built blockhouse. So we have 2 towers for that. We have had alumni donations. We've been funded by student government, and we have had several generous grants from the Case Alumni Association, which is an independent corporation that looks after donations from alumni of the Old Case Institute of Technology. We also have some department funds and some from the School of Engineering itself.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. Thank you, David. And from MSU, Jacob or Nathan?
Yeah, definitely. So we're very lucky to have a room in our engineering building. So on the second floor, we actually have a shack. We have 3 operating positions. We have 2 in front of our radios, and we have a 3rd in front of our computer, which can be used for logging. We also have, a whole setup. We got a mini fridge and a microwave. We have a bookshelf with all the manuals to operate standard operating procedures on all of our equipment. We've got a couple antennas hanging out on the wall and some cool memorabilia. So it's a really great place. I forgot to mention in the previous round there, but we also don't have dues. We will occasionally fund build projects where the members will buy the parts, and then we'll just buy everything in bulk so that we can do build groups. A little technical information about our repeater. We have a 70 centimeter repeater that is operated from the building itself. All of our antennas are on the building. It is 20 watts. Our antenna is 4-element collinear. And if you guys are in the area of East Lansing, the frequency is 442.9. Positive shift with a PL tone of 77 hertz. We also have a HF Yagi and a couple dipoles up on the roof that we can switch between radios. We're very lucky to have the support of the Dean of Engineering, Leo Kempel. He's a licensed ham, so he helps us, with our position in the school, and we have lots of alumni who have both donated time, money, and equipment. We have a flex radio and some satellite equipment as well. So we're really well set up. When a member, I would say, graduates up to extra class, they're given a key to the shack so they can open it at any time. We don't have fixed office hours, but typically the senior members will unlock the shack and just open it up when they're studying. So it's a great place to hang out and study. That's the best way to recruit people, is grabbing them on the way, which obviously we can't do right now, but when we're in person, that's one of the favorite things to do, is just to hang out, cook up some ramen and just hang out there. So that's, we have got a good radio culture at MSU.
Yep, and like I said, I have sadly missed all that so far, but I'm looking to hop in there hopefully over the summer a little bit and then towards the fall. So that'll be nice.
Great. Thank you, Jacob and Nathan. And from University of Michigan, Michael?
So we're at the University of Michigan. We have a room on the 4th floor of our engineering building. There's 3 primary operating positions. One has a Yaesu F, the DX1000 radio. We also have a Kenwood TS590, and then we have an ICOM 746. And on the roof, we have a antenna tower that we got with the help of Dean Tony England. And on top of the tower is a step IR 3-element beam, which is very nice. And we also have some satellite antennas, which are useful for working with satellites. Our room also has several issues of QST magazine and several QSL cards from the past. And unfortunately, I don't know much about the history of how we acquired all our gear, but as I mentioned before, we have a lot of donations. I think we have a whole Collins set, or a couple of them, that were donated to the club recently. And we also have a soldering station workbench, so we have some test gear, and we have a group of members who like to repair radios and things. So that's also a nice addition to our shack. And we also have a couple vertical antennas on the roof, as well as a 80-meter wire. So we don't have any, or in the past we would participate in a lot of the contests, such as the Michigan QSO party and or school club roundup, the NAQP and North American collegiate competition. So those are some of the events. And we also have a repeater. It's on 2 meters, and it's connected with Echolink, which is a nice feature. So back to you.
Thanks, Michael. Some of these things you've already answered. So I have this prepared list of questions, and I'm going to just ask them. Oh, no, I missed Adam. I'm sorry. Kick me. Adam, your turn.
Sure. So we're located in the student center building, 3rd floor. The shack access is restricted to paying, dues paying members. And in the shack, we have a lot of equipment. Our main radio is a Flex radio, super nice, and we definitely have to acknowledge that Bob McGuire and N4HY let us keep that when he left with us. But there used to be like 2 Flex radios, and one of them was actually, I think the one we have was actually used for one of the students' research with the solar eclipse, and I think they used Whisper, something like that, for propagation studying. So that's pretty cool. We have a I believe it's a tri-bander Yagi on the roof there, and a rotor. We do have some satellite equipment, and we're definitely working on a station currently for that. Our bank account is funded mainly through proposals that are yearly to the student club organization. But donations, we just got a huge one in the form of equipment from the NASA Langley Visitor Center, where the Air and Space Museum was, or is. They gave their amateur radio equipment to us, including the satellite antenna and radio, Yaesu FT 991, among many other things like vintage equipment. Yeah, that's all I've got for now.
Okay, great. Thanks, Adam. I'm going to try and mix these questions up so they may be related or not, and they may go from the sublime to the ridiculous. But and some people have answered these already. But does your club have a weekly net? And if so, is it connected digitally by DMR, D-Star, Fusion, IRLP, Echolink, things like that? Does your club have a mission statement or slogan? And when I was researching this, I found some clubs that had pretty hilarious slogans. One of them, one club, I can't remember where, their website said a bunch of RF misfits. And I loved that. I thought that was great. Um, um, Michael has answered this in part. What special events does your club work? And lastly, does your club have its own mascot? So Aiden and David from Case.
Thanks. So we do not currently have a regularly occurring net. Actually, one of our previous officers had done a nice work putting together a set of materials for a net, and we just haven't gotten around to implementing that yet. So no net currently. We do usually have regular in-person meetings, or now meetings over Zoom, but those have become a little more infrequent. Let's see. We don't have a repeater currently. That's also another thing that is a work in progress. And I like that some of the other presenters mentioned having their repeaters around Echolink. That would be something nice for ours to have, actually. But yeah, we're blessed that in the Cleveland area, there's a number of good repeaters, several which are on Echolink, that we make use of regularly. And we're good friends with the traffic handlers of the area, which is helpful. Yeah, we don't have our own mascot. We have had some interactions with the university's mascot, but no mascot of our own yet. And yeah, I think that about covers it.
Okay, great. Thanks, Aiden. Jacob or Nathan from MSU.
Yeah, I'll start, and then I'll let Nathan continue. But I also dropped the information down there in the chat. But we have a weekly net. We've been doing it every day now, a little over a year. It was our reaction to school going online, and everybody was separate. So we wanted a way to keep the club together. So we started a net on Thursdays at 8 p.m. and that's Eastern time. And we've done it every week for a little over a year now. And you can join us either via the repeater if you're local, but you can also join us on Echolink. We have a repeater node, which is connected via a Raspberry Pi that we have running. And you can search us up W8MSU-R, but if you just type W8MSU in the Echolink directory, will pop up there. And you'll hear us there. We start 8 p.m. sharp. And I've done it for the most part, but Nathan just started. He was net control last week. We usually have about 8 check-ins, I would say, and they're all over the country. We got people in Virginia. We got people in Florida. Occasionally, we made some friends in the University of Arizona. They check in. So you guys are all welcome to check in and join us there. It's a good evening. And we're looking to start a CW net in the near future. It's part of we've got a group project right now. There are some CW experts in the club, and we're all learning CW. So hopefully we'll be able to transition into a net. We might start on Zoom and then go onto the air, but we want to keep it fun, keep it casual. So, and then I'll send it over to Nathan, and he can talk a little bit more about the net and his experience.
Yeah, as Jacob said, I got to run net control last week, which was a good time. It was an unusually busy week. We had a total of 9 check-ins, which was nice to see. Like I said, please feel free to drop by. It's always nice to see some new or hear some new voices, I guess, over the repeater. As for slogan and mascot, it's the same as the university. We got Sparty's over here, and go green, go white. I think that about wraps us up.
Okay, thanks, Nathan. Michael from University of Michigan.
Our club has a weekly net on 8 p.m. on Sundays, and you can participate through Echolink or through the RF, through the repeater. the net normally ends by 8:30 because there's another net in Ann Arbor that starts about that time. And let me just see. I think Ralph had some other questions for us. I don't know of a specific club mascot that we have, or a club slogan or mission statement, but we do want to be a resource for the student hams at the university. I find that it's interesting when you start talking with people, there's a lot of students who might have a ham license who don't know about the club or aren't active. And so we want to be able to reach out to them and get them involved. And then plus with all the great station we have, it's really a great resource that they should learn to use and take advantage of. And we want to support any students who are interested in ham radio to get their license. We can provide resources for them and give them advice on how to get on the air. Speaking of events we've done in the past, in our shack right now, we have this wooden trophy that's shaped like a mitten that has gone back and forth between MSU and U of M in our competition. I believe that's for the Michigan CUSA party, if I'm not mistaken. So that's kind of a fun event that we do.
You guys owe us. You guys owe us. Using COVID as an excuse to hang on to it for an extra year.
Yeah, we'll have to get that transition. Did I miss one of your questions, Ralph?
I think we're good.
Okay, great.
We're good enough. And Adam.
Yeah, so traditionally we had a VHF weekly Thursday night net on our repeater that is on Brush Mountain. But we haven't been running that lately just because we don't really have active members who have had the opportunity to get their technician license. We do have testing, but it's a little more infrequent these days. And of course, harder to access with people in different locations. Our club doesn't have really a firm motto, but we always like to advertise that we offer emergency communications, field communications, education, and then the volunteer testing services, all for the local community. I think that's about,
Okay.
yeah, that was all your question.
Okay, great. This is usually I have way more material than I can fit into the time, so I'm going to jump ahead in this list, and I have some questions. I want to know if you can tell me what's the most amazing thing your club has done, and what about your club is it that you're most proud of? And I'm also curious to know if you have any well-known alumni. So Aiden and David.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, this one's yours. You wrote the annual reports.
Yes. Yeah. So I'll let you share your favorites as well. But it's a tough one. There are a lot of good contenders for favorite activities, but here I'll pick, I guess, two that I thought really stood out. I guess the most awesome thing I think the club has done is that over the past 10 or so years, it has grown from what was essentially an alumni-only club with practically no student involvement to a thriving part of both campus activities and also the official teaching and education of the electrical engineering department and the School of Engineering. it's been really remarkable to see. I haven't, I owe a lot of thanks to the people who came before me, but just in the past almost 4 years now that I've been a part of it, it's been really exciting to see this growth. And it's really a privilege to be able to be in the position that we can now start helping other college clubs either regain members or plan new activities or get off the ground. And then I guess thing I'm most proud of, I can't take credit for doing this, but I think the thing that from the club that I'm most proud of is our involvement in helping keep the stations WWV and WWH on the air. I'm really proud. David and Christina are to be thanked. Christina is one of the previous presidents of the club, but I'm proud of the work that they did in keeping those stations on the air.
Yeah, we really have done some amazing things since I returned to the engineering quad 5 years ago, and really starting about 5 years before that. The club, the space had been there, but it, like most college clubs, it had gone to almost zero use from maybe 1990 to 2005, somewhere in there. I'll offer one example of one of the cool things that we've done. Aiden hit some good highlights, but I'll give a smaller, interesting one. The university owns a research farm about 30 miles away from the city in a lovely bucolic area. We hold field day out there. One of our students is a civil engineering major and worked with the professor who teaches the surveying class to have a 6-week, so half semester project of the civil engineering sophomore surveying class to travel out to the Case Farm and do a formal survey of it for our field day antennas. They had us give a client's presentation at the beginning of the semester of what we needed. They planned out a surveying project, and they spent the rest of the semester preparing a 60-page report on what trees were best, what the orientations would be, how much wire we needed, how much cable we needed, what the safety issues were. I mean, they did a full formal civil engineering firm style report. And we got a nice write-up in the ARRL magazines about it. It was just amazing. So we've done some cool stuff, and I give all credit to Aiden as club president and 4-year member for getting much of this done.
Great, thank you, Aiden and David. Jacob and Nathan.
Yeah, so probably the thing that I think I'm most proud of our club for doing is we regularly license new hams every year, especially this year, even with the pandemic. I think we had I think it was 4 or 5 new licensees, including me, but which was nice. And let's see. Oh yeah, we're also 102 years old. I think we're one of the oldest clubs in the at the college, which is cool. And let's see, one of the coolest things that our club has done is on February 22nd, 1969, we had the first slow scan TV transmission to Europe. And that was, we have 2 notable hams with that. We got Ralph Taggart, who is WV8 DQT, and the help with of Dave Sumner, K1ZZ. And that's something that just kind of blows my mind. That's very cool to hear.
Can I speak up there? Is Ralph Taggart still around?
I think on our net, Ed Oxer, who is one of our, I can't remember if he's an alumni. I think he is, but
He is,
I think
yeah.
he mentioned something about that.
If you
yesterday.
could give him my regards, he was a direct help to me in my high school senior project back in the mid-70s.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, please tell him I say
Small
hi.
world, man.
Yeah.
I think he still lives somewhere around here.
Okay, tell him I say hi. I mostly
Yeah,
made good on that project.
I'll see what I can do.
I will. Actually, I think Ed said he is still around and living in the area. Some in his 90s, I think. But I don't want to misquote.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
already
no,
a
that's
biology
what it was. Yep.
professor. I think a botany professor at Michigan State when I was in high school. So, yeah, he can't be a young man at this point, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and so Nathan does a lot of research on our history. So just something that I'm proud of is keeping the spirit of radio alive. I know that in modern times, people have cell phones. It's kind of hard to justify it, but we're really good at finding a good community at MSU and inspiring the idea of applying what you learn in school and actually making a kit. So that's what I like to see, is seeing all these students come in and just hang out and having a good time. So if it weren't for being online, I think we'd get up to some pretty crazy stuff this semester, but that's going to have to wait.
Okay. Thank you, Jacob and Nathan. Michael?
So I've only been associated with the club for this past year, actually. Before that, I was first down at the University of Alabama, and then when I moved up here to Michigan, I was only sort of associated with the club until I started my master's degree, and then that second half of that degree, I was the club president. A few of the things that I've done with the club that I really enjoyed, I remember a couple years ago, it was now, we did like a soldering challenge workshop. And so we had a little board with LEDs and 555 timers, and you start with the through-hole components, and then they got smaller and smaller. And if you soldered it all correctly, all the small ones would blink up at the different rates, which was kind of cool. I've also enjoyed participating in some of the contests. I believe in 2018, we came in third for the North American Collegiate Competition. I believe it was Indiana and Georgia Tech who beat us that year in that contest. And so those were some of my favorite things that I participated with the club. We're hoping to maybe do a fox hunt as our last thing for the semester, now that the weather's warming up and it'll be outside, so it'll be safe to do, socially distant. In terms of some notable members of the club, our club has a lot of rich history. Actually, from our QSL card, you can see we claim started in 1913. And one of our non-student members, our station manager, John Palmisano, KV8OIS, has done a lot of extensive research on the club history, and he could tell you a lot about it. And on our QRZ page, we have a lot of names there. I'm just going to point out a few connections. Hiram Percy Maxim was associated with the club, W1AW. Tony England, who's our Dean of Engineering, W0ORE, was the first astronaut to use SSTV from space, which is kind of neat. And then these weren't alumni, but Samuel Morris, who was awarded the first place in the 1876 Philadelphia Exposition, was awarded for the telephone, was awarded that award by a U of M professor, James C. Watson, and then later aided by the U of M president Tappan in obtaining the patent for the telegraph. And then also Alexander Graham Bell was awarded the first place for his telephone by the same U of M professor James Watson in the same Philadelphia Exposition. And then on our page, there's a whole bunch of other good history info, but those are a couple of the things I can comment on right now.
Okay, thank you, Michael. And last, again, but not least, Adam, over to you.
Sure. I can't really think of any. I mean, I've only been with VTARA for a few years. Nothing sticks out as amazing that we've done. You know, we've kind of just we've operated contests fairly consistently, but it's only myself and maybe a few others. But we're mainly trying to get equipment, you know, keep up with maintenance and you know, replace coax and all that. but one thing that I'm looking forward to is that satellite station, ground station that will hopefully get installed for, I'd like it to be a SatNogs, part of the SatNogs network initially, but of course it could be used for other things. I did have 1 year at NC State, and I was involved with their club, tried to kickstart that. And one thing that I'm proud of, most proud of of that is teaching Boy Scout, the amateur radio badge. We did that as a club for, on the weekend, one of the days. And that was really fun. And just, I've always been a fan of teaching radio, teaching it to little kids is pretty cool. So, yeah.
Very good. I think we've gone about long enough. I think it's probably time to start taking some questions from the field. Lee, what have you got?
Well, I don't see anything in the chat yet for questions, and I don't see any hands up.
I have one that I picked out,
And I've got a question too. So
okay, well, you do yours first, because
okay,
I've talked enough.
all right. I think this will be directed at Nathan. I don't know really who to ask, but since you're new, I'll ask you. What was your route into the club? How did you decide to get you're been licensed less than a year, I think.
Yep.
So what was your drive to get your license and then to join the club?
It's a good question. Me and Ed have had a couple of conversations about this because I can't decide. I was a paintball referee for a number of years, and I think I could have heard it from somewhere over there. And then also me and Jacob talked about this at our meeting last week. There's also a guy who races the drones with the FPV goggles on, which you need at least a technician's license to operate. And I think he said something about getting his ham radio license. But over the summer, I was super bored, and I was looking for stuff to do from home. And I stumbled across ham radio crash course. I saw that, and that guy caught my eye. And then I was like, I'm going to get licensed. I got licensed, and then I came back to campus, and I happened to find the club. It was actually kind of funny. I hopped on the repeater one day, and at Oxford WADO, he was on there, and he happened to be my first transmission, which was neat.
Oh, very good. Thanks. Yep.
Yeah.
There was a question if any of your stations have remote access. I wonder if you've thought about doing that. Aiden or David?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Aiden. We have thought about it.
Yes, we have, and truthfully, I think we've let David a bit down. David did actually get us a copy of the remote access software for our new radio, and the officers, myself included, have not gotten around to setting that up yet. Of course, some of us aren't on, like I'm not currently on campus, so it's not something I can really set up now. But yes, we have definitely thought about it, and well, we kind of feel like it takes a bit of the magic away of it. We do really think it is worthwhile for people who can't get access to the station, especially now. So we would like to do that in the future.
Yeah, we have the usual story. The campus is very RF noisy. So we have the issues of roof access that every other university does. We've been fairly lucky about it, but it's still a hard fight with the university. So one of the things we've talked about is putting a remote access station out at that research farm, which is very radio quiet. But I've been reluctant to expect students to have one more activity that has them sitting staring at a computer screen and calling it hands-on engineering. So we've nibbled at it, but we haven't done too much.
Great. Thanks, David and Aiden. Jacob and Nathan?
Yeah, so we briefly touched on it. We do have the Echolink attachment, and I don't know if you would really call that remote access, but for us, it is really great because we have members all over the country, and it's a great way for everybody to just connect. And for me, I can hit the repeater from my apartment with my HT, but it can be difficult sometimes, especially if you're net control. So defaulting to Echolink is really phenomenal. You get really clear audio, and it allows everybody to contact in wherever they are. We do, it's a little fun fact, is that we do operate with Yaesu Fusion on our repeater, and we were the first digital repeater in Ingham County. So, that's something we play around with. I don't do a whole lot of digital mode operating, but we have some alumni and some previous students who have done that. So our big thing is Echolink, and if you guys can get that set up, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with Jacob there. Echolink was, especially for new people like me. And Lansing, we don't have a super busy repeater community around here, so it's kind of nice to have the ability, especially their new update that just came out. You can do, you can search for, I think CQ?
Yep.
And just meet up there, talk to random people that way, and get some logs, which is nice. So I can't say enough about it. I think I'm gonna plan on trying to build an all-star node here as well. We'll see how that goes.
Good. Well, I built one early in COVID, but the Livingston County Club had a kit that I got, so I
Did
built
everybody-
one.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So
Did everybody
thanks.
get a chance to answer that one?
no, not yet.
Okay.
Michael.
So that was one of my projects actually for this year for the club, since the university was limiting access for us to get together. I thought it'd be a good idea to get remote access to one of our HF rigs, and we were successful. We found that Kenwood had remote access software for their radios for the TS590 that we have, and I was able to remotely use that. We also have Ham Radio Deluxe, and with Ham Radio Deluxe you can set that up in a remote configuration, and it has its digital modes and other things. So what we've found is between the Kenwood audio software and then HRD, you can do voice and digital remotely. The one thing that we can't do right now is Morse code, but then again, not many of our student members do Morse code right now, so that's not as big of a issue. But it's nice that we can at least connect to that for those, because since most students don't have radios at their location.
Good. And Adam.
We do not have remote access. We just got HRD, so maybe we could explore that. We do have an Echolink node that was set up recently by our vice president on our repeater, or not on our repeater, but for it.
Good. There was another question from Bob, N4 Hotel Yankee. Could we?
Yeah, I think he wants to say a few words about grants. Is that right, Bob?
It is, if you don't mind. Thank you. I'm the immediate past advisor to Vitara. I've known Adam for a while, and I retired last May. And the thing I'm doing now is I'm on the board of directors of ARDC. 2 years ago, Amper.net sold 25% of its IP addresses to an extremely large corporation, and that we are not allowed to name because of an agreement. But the proceeds are $135 million. And this money is to be used to give grants for amateur radio, educational, and technical projects. And right now, we are putting together our request for proposals for educational activities. But the easiest possible place to put in a request for a club would be from a university club, because the university is already a 501c3 organization, unless it's a for-profit university, which none of you are. I think pretty much these grants could completely rebuild all your stations. And just pay attention, please, because we are going to be giving away millions of dollars a year. And your clubs are a great source of technical talent. You can have innovative projects, rebuild your stations. And while our final details on the form you will need to take to put in a proposal, our RFP, our request for proposal write-up, is underway now and will be out shortly. And I hope to see many of you try to build up your club with the funds that we have to give.
Is the grant going to be an ongoing? Is it going to be ongoing, or is there a time frame on that?
It'll be ongoing. It will take a very long time to go through $135 million. It'll
Okay.
be going on for years and years.
Okay, and
So-
is the contact information in that link?
It is. So Mike, here, I'll put my contact information in chat and send it to everyone. And people that want to know stuff can write me. And I will do my best to respond, but I probably will put you in touch with our executive director, Rosie, who is a ham and has many years of experience running foundations. So thank you for letting me interrupt, but I really wanted to get to this group because I'd love to see this group get grants to rebuild or build up your stations and do technical activities and take risks. We are funding you taking risks, building stations, doing technical fun things, and I think you'll get a lot of it. So Adam mentioned Flex. Just my education was amateur radio. I got degrees and I was on the faculty at Virginia Tech, but most of my education came through amateur radio, and I was the architect with others for the Flex 6000 series. And I wrote the software-defined radio modules for Flex's first radio. So this is a great place to do stuff, and I'm really happy to see a lot of you here. And you can do a lot and go a long way with your amateur radio activities and the educations you're getting.
Sure can. Thank you. Back to you, Ralph.
Thanks. I wonder if there's anything else that the participants would like to say at this point about their club or amateur radio in general. Aiden?
Yeah, I just remembered we didn't get to answer your question about a club slogan. We don't have an official club slogan per se, but I know one sort of unofficial motto has been a saying of David's, which is that every engineer should have an amateur license. And we really do try to follow that as to emphasize the fact that amateur radio really is a useful way to put your engineering skills into practice. And that's one of the things I've really enjoyed about being a part of the club, is that we've been able to offer students hands-on activities and things that I can tell a lot of students are really looking for, that you don't get necessarily in lecture-based classrooms.
Very good. Jacob?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for having us on and letting us share our club. And, we're just really excited to license more hams. Our goal is actually to have 20 new licensees by the end of the year. So just helping people study. And I hope everybody, best of luck for the rest of the semester, and that we can hear you guys on our net this week, tomorrow evening. So
Okay,
see you guys then.
great. Nathan?
Yeah, I just want to echo everything that Jacob just said. Thanks for having us on. This is a fun little, or is it a podcast? Wasn't quite sure.
The recording of the Zoom will be available in a couple of days, and I'll send
very
you a link.
Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, so like I said, great, happy to be a part of it. It's always nice to meet, talk to some new people, especially in the ham community. Especially being so new, it's nice to branch out. Yeah, other than that, thanks for having us on. I guess that's about it.
Thank you. Michael?
Thanks for inviting us. Glad to talk with everyone here today. I will say there's a amateur or ARRL Collegiate Amateur Radio Initiative, which is a great group. They have a Facebook page, and they have like a monthly meeting where a whole bunch of university clubs, leadership, and other affiliated hams get together and discuss topics specifically about collegiate clubs. And so that would be a good thing for everyone to get involved with. And I wanted to share, if any of your new students are looking to get licensed, the Greater Los Angeles Amateur Radio Group, GLARG, has many online testing sessions, which have been going very well, and they waive the licensing fee for students. So I just wanted to pass that information along to everyone.
Thanks, Michael. And Adam.
Yep. Thank you for having me. And thanks to Bob for making that announcement about the grants. That's going to be definitely helpful. And I just add that I always tell our new members that the ARRL scholarships are pretty easy to get, and significant amounts of money too. So that's always a good thing to advertise for your members. And yeah, that's it.
Well, thanks very much, guys. And
We do have one more question, I believe. We had a hand raised. Dan, do you still want to go?
Go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, hi. It's a comment. GLAARG has been doing possibly more remote testing than any other VEC in the country. I say possibly because I just don't know. But in the latest ARRL VE newsletter, they laid out the criteria for ARRL VEC groups to begin doing remote testing. So it's a thing, and it'll probably stay with us forever, which is probably a good thing. On the other hand, I remember the relationships I built with the people I've met at every one of the test sessions I went to. So there's two sides to that story, but and I agree that every engineering student should have an amateur radio license. We just need to get that to be, a thing that everybody's aware of, and anything anybody can do to help that would be useful, both for the folks fortunate enough to become amateur radio operators and the schools that they'll make proud. So thank you all very much.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's all I see, Ralph.
Nope, we got Nathan's out there.
Yeah, I was about to, I just
Oh,
wanted to
sorry
say,
about that.
oh, it's
Go
all good.
ahead.
When I got my license, I took the test online, and I thought that was a very unique experience. It was cool to see the community kind of adapt from all the in-person testings from as long as the FCC's been a thing. So looking forward to seeing, or I hope it stays with us, because it definitely made going and getting a license a lot easier, even though I missed out on the possibly missing Elmer's. So.
Okay, great. Well, I want to thank you again all for participating. I hope you had a good time. We enjoyed listening to you. And my last comment is that the faculty are all clean shaven, but the students are not. And you all have a good start. That's what I can say. So once again, thanks for participating and for all of your input and good comments. And I wish you all good luck. I wish your club success. And if there's anything we can do to help you, please let us know. So
73, everyone.
73.
Thank you, 7:30.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank everyone for coming.
Yeah, take care.
Thanks for having us. 73s.
Great job, everybody.
I'm sure we'll have you all back because there's lots of other questions we'd like to ask.
All
Yeah,
right.
there are more questions. That's right.
Yep.
And
This
if
should be at least
Easily.
this should be at least an annual event.
if there's any way we as Rat Pack can help you with your club activities and such, please let us know also.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, thanks for offering the support. It's always appreciated.
All right.
Hey, with that, I will end this thing. It's been a great session. Thank you, everybody.
It was taped and it will be sent out to everybody on the list.
Better, thank
Okay.
you very much. Yes. It'll also be a download link, so if you want to download it and edit for your own purposes at the universities and colleges.
Yeah. And chat will be included.
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, if I may,
Yeah, Dan?
these esteemed Rat Pack people aren't bragging enough, because with every invitation, there's a couple of URLs that you can go and see every single one of the presentations made since, correct me, Dan, all the way back to, is it March?
No,
February of 2020.
yeah, it all started actually in late January, but most of that was private sessions amongst ARL individuals. And
Yeah, we started kind of with WinLink.
yeah, we did. It all
Yeah.
branched out about late February, start March. Yeah.
And anything anybody ever wanted to know about amateur radio has been discussed and argued about in some of those. So it's the real deal.
Terrific. All right.
Thank you, Ken.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. 73.
Good night.
Thank you very much.
Good night.